Welcome back to Vlogmas Day 2. It is December 2nd, and yeah, my name is Emily. I live in East Tennessee with my husband, my son, my soon-to-be daughter, and our dog and cat. I mentioned yesterday that it's been almost a year since I podcasted last, and so I thought while little man's down for a nap, I would go ahead and talk about that a little bit and talk about the projects, or some of the projects that I'm working on right now. So let's see. At the moment, I'm working on an everyday slouch beanie by Tristan of Dragon Horde Yarns. I hope I got that right. It'll be on here, and anything I talk about will be linked below. So far, I have finished the first part of the brim, and I've put in my purl row, and I'm doing the next portion. And I'm really loving it so far. It's done, let's see. I'm using Medusa yarns. She's another local dyer in the area. She lives over in Knoxville. And I'm using her yarn. I don't know the base, and I don't know the colorway. If I can find the tag, I'll link it below, but it's gorgeous and I love it. And I've paired it with, I didn't want to go out and buy a bunch of mohair, so I found some in stash, and I had about 25, I had partial balls of Knit Picks Aloft, and I had a white and a gray, and they were partial balls both. So I'm knitting half of the brim in white and half of it in gray, and then I'll decide when I join which side is going to be the outside and which is going to be the inside. I will have to do some striping to have enough yarn, enough mohair to finish the hat, but I think it'll look all right. I just want to see which one's going to be the main band right next to my face. So yeah, so far I'm not far enough into the gray to have too much of an opinion on it, but we'll see. Yeah, so I'm really enjoying this so far. I'm also working on these socks. This is Unwind Yarn Company, and she lives over, I want to say Dana lives over in Chattanooga. I think so. But anyways, she's also from Tennessee. So she did the main color of the foot, and I dyed the toes and cuffs. I really love her yarn, and I really love the color that I dyed for the heels, toes, and cuffs. But I think that together, it's a bit much for me. I'm going to wear them. They're socks. They're going to be on my feet, but they are very, very vibrant. So I'm going to have a ton of her yarn left over, so I'm going to be able to pair it with something that is a little more, it's trying to think of just a little more me, because I think that these are so bright and crazy, and I do like it, but it's not what I would immediately reach for. There we go. So I'm going to pair her yarn with something that, with heels, toes, and cuffs that work for me a little bit better. And I'll probably keep these and still wear them because I'm not a very fast sock knitter, but we'll see. I might, if I find someone whose feet fit in here perfectly, then I might give it to them. Who knows? But yeah, I am binding off the cuff on sock number 2. So I just have to bind off, I've bound off the front, I just have to bind off the back, and then I have to put in my heels. So these should be done pretty quickly. I basically do a toe, just a normal wedge toe for the heels, but I put in about 5 rows of just stockinette before I start my decreases, and that seems to fit pretty well. So I think that's what I'll do for these. Once those are done, completely bound off, everything woven in, I'm going to do a small cast on party. I've got a bunch of stuff that I want to knit, and these are not the only 2 whips that I have going at the moment, but I really want to get some knitting done. Quicker knits, maybe. There's gloves that I've been promising Tim. They're actually convertible mittens that just have little, like, finger posts. And I want to make a little sweater for Finn, socks for Finn, and I want to cast on a pair of bulky weight socks for myself so I can have, like, slippers around the house. So I will be casting all of that on. The yarn that I have for Finn's socks, he actually picked out at Black Mountain Yarn Shop. It's in the base is called Finch. Quince & Co? Finch, I think. I picked it up at Black Mountain Yarn Shop when we went on a trip over to Asheville a few weeks ago. So yeah, I'm excited to make those for him. So yeah, but anyways, the point of today, this past year has been a little rough for me physically, health-wise. So Tim and I knew that we wanted to have 2 kids, but in May I got really sick and couldn't figure out what was wrong. And eventually we had to go to the ER, and a doctor who was there ran a few tests, and rather smugly and condescendingly are probably way too strong, but that kind of vibe, told me that it was my gallbladder, and that the test wasn't one that they would run in the emergency room because it wasn't your standard gallbladder problem, so he sent me home. I was back the next day in the ER, and there was this wonderful woman who she was like, I'm not satisfied with this. We're going to take a look further. And eventually they decided that they were going to have to do like an exploratory surgery just to see what was up. Before that could happen, things escalated quickly and they kind of rushed me into surgery. In the end, the explanation I got was, and this happens, like this is an actual thing that happens to people. Blood flow was cut off to my intestines for some reason, and they don't know why, but when they took a look inside, everything was limping along well enough, so they didn't take anything out, which I love my surgeon. She's wonderful. She did my appendix, and yeah, so we were very lucky that someone didn't try to fix what didn't need to be fixed. She just left everything alone. My incisions were really small, so recovery was quick. I was out of the hospital in just a few days. But they couldn't figure out why I was still having abdominal pain. So, and fast forward 2 months later, I went to the only doctor that I hadn't been to, and she, after just touching my stomach for about 2 seconds, went, I think you're pregnant. I think you're about 16 weeks along. And she was right. She was off by like 1 day. But yeah. So it turned out I was pregnant. And they ran tests in the ER and they all came back negative. At 8 weeks, I guess. I shouldn't say they all came back negative. They ran a test and it came back negative. So I went through a bunch of other testing trying to figure out why I was having all these abdominal pains, because typically in the situation, like, you get better and you're done and it never happens again. So I was really relieved to find out that I was pregnant, because we had thought that that it would be too dangerous for me to try to have a kid because of that. But no, it just turns out I was sick from being pregnant, which is great. So we got to find out the gender same day. It's a girl. We've settled on a name. So far, things could change. But right now, Tim really likes the name Lily. So that's going to be her first name. And I really like the name Pippin. So that's her middle name. So it's going to be Lily Pippin Novikov. And I'm really excited. I've made her a sweater, except for binding off a cuff and weaving in the ends. I'll get around to it. It'll happen. But yeah. So we're really excited about that. It's been a slightly rougher pregnancy than with Finn. I've had some back problems, but I've been in physical therapy and that's been helping a lot. Unfortunately, those back problems peaked at a time when we were supposed to go to Fiber in the Burrow over in Murfreesboro. So we had to unfortunately cancel that show, but I was having flare-ups with my back where I couldn't walk. So I didn't want to be in the middle of the show, have that happen, and then basically have to, like, Tim would still have to watch Finn, and so he wouldn't be able to watch the booth, and I'd just be totally incapacitated, which you don't want. So I let them know a little early so they could move someone into my space. I just didn't want it to be morning of, and I have another episode because I had physical therapy scheduled, just not until right before the show. So that was really disappointing, but it ended up being a really good move because I would not have been able to make it through the show, and then they would have ended up with a booth that's just, we would still be there, but essentially kind of abandoned. So it worked out better for the show. They were very sweet about it. They were so nice. And yeah, I'm very grateful to them for being so nice because I was so stressed out. I was so upset to have to do that. But yeah, everything's been going really smoothly. Aside from that, like, it's normal pregnancy stuff. Like, I can't sleep well in the bed because I don't have enough back support. So I've been sleeping on our 2-seater couch, which is not ideal, but at least I'm sleeping through the night. I've been dealing with a bit of nausea, but as long as I eat healthy things, I don't really have that issue. I broke down the other day. I was like, oh, I'm just hungry. I'll just grab a cheeseburger from McDonald's. And then I saw that they served hash browns all day, so I bought hash browns. And I was very sick the rest of the night. It's not good. So now I'm mostly eating pitas filled with spinach and peppers and hummus, and I'm making, I make most of our meals anyways. I just get so hungry. So fast food always seems like a good option. I've been drinking a ton of decaf coffee. And luckily we've got a local coffee roasting company called Vienna Coffee House. They roast the beans under, it's snowing. Ooh. Cool. This will be our second snow of the year. Although this might be closer to, like, micro hail. Is that a thing? So yeah, anyways. The coffee shop is right above where they roast the coffee. So I've been stocking up on all of their flavors. I'd put a bunch of spices into the coffee anyways, up in the filter. And I've been using eggnog and heavy cream for my creamer. And it's amazing, and I love it. And that's what I'm drinking at the moment. So, the tea advent that I signed up for with Ninja Chicken's podcast group on Ravelry. Let's see. I have a tea for every day leading up to Christmas, and I think I even have one for Christmas. I think it worked out to where we wound up with 25 teas each. And yeah, some of them, I didn't want to say, you know, I can't have any caffeine or anything because I do have caffeine occasionally. So I just said I was up for any kind of tea. And any ones that I can't or shouldn't drink, I just let Tim have, and then I have my coffee. And so today he had the packet of, it was an organic Earl Grey, and something about Earl Grey is not recommended. So I figured I'd just have my decaf coffee anyways. So yeah, it worked out really well. So yeah, and then since then, it's just been, since we figured out why I was sick, I've just been too tired to do anything. So Vlogmas is coming up. I figured, oh, I can just do short, sweet videos. I think it was actually Tommy from Squirrel Pie Productions. Her Vlogtober made me feel like, oh, well, I could just do this because I can do really short videos, although this one looks like it's getting a bit longer. But try to do as few cuts as possible. Like, don't try to film the entire day. Just, here's a snippet. And I've got a little list of topics in case I forget. So we may miss some days. I may upload several on one day. So you'll get like days, well, probably you're going to get days like 1 through 4 on like the 5th or something. But I'm editing them as I go, where I can. And it's only day 2, but it seems to be working out so far. So yeah, I think that I am going to make the most of the time that I have left while he's napping. Probably try to do some dishes, but finish up those socks, work on the hat, and I picked up another set of the Flexi Flips. I don't know if you guys have used these, but they're by Addie, and I really like these. I got 2 sets of the size, it's US 1.5. I think it's 2.5 millimeters, and that is what I'm knitting these on. And you can see they're all flexible in the middle, but they're basically a DPN. So yeah, these I'm not liking the density in the stitches on these, so luckily I need these for Tim's gloves, so these are still going to get put to use. But yeah, for my next pair of fingering weight socks, I will be using these size ones. And I got these over at Hook and Needle. I dropped off some sock sets of Christmas cheer yesterday. I hung out in the coffee shop. I hung out at Vienna Coffee House and assembled those, so I probably looked like a crazy person just with a mound of yarn in front of me. But I got those dropped off. So, and I think if you're not local but you want one, you can always contact Hook and Needle, and I think they do mail orders. Just so you know, because with Finn and little Pip on the way, he's crying, but that doesn't mean he's awake. I'll give him a minute. But with little Pip on the way, we decided to dial things back. So, and I was struggling to keep up with business and Finn because he's not in daycare. We don't even have a babysitter for him. Like, he's with us. We don't, and not like that's we're not opposed to babysitters or daycare. It's just not something we're doing at the moment. I don't know. I don't have a really good explanation for why. But once he gets a little bit older, we do plan on putting him into daycare. But yeah, we decided to just stop stressing out about the business so much, dial back the shows, and maybe just die locally for our local yarn shops, which we have a ton of them around us, which is so crazy. I think we've got 5. Gatlinburg, 3 in Knoxville? I think 3 in Knoxville, 1 in Maryville. The yarn patch is about an hour away. So, yeah. Yeah. So we've got quite a few, but I don't know what I'm rambling about. So anyways, with Lil Pip on the way, and I was already struggling to do the online shop, take care of Finn, and prep for shows and things like that. So we decided while they're still this small, we'll dial things back. I'm dying for hook and needle. We'll see if I can expand that further after that. But yeah, pretty much all of my yarn is going to be going to hook and needle, and we've got one last show coming up in April. At the Smoky Mountain Fiber Arts Festival. So she'll be about 2 months old, so that'll be all right. I'll have her in a sling, and Tim will be with Finn, so everything should be fine. But yeah, the snow, or mini hail, is coming down in a drizzle, and it sounds really cool. But I'm gonna go get little man, because it seems like he is properly awake. We're gonna have some lunch, we're gonna play, and do some dishes, which I'm sure Finn is thrilled about and really looking forward to. Just means that he gets to play in the kitchen while I do dishes. So yeah, I hope you guys are having a great December so far, enjoying all the different Vlogmases that are out there, and I will see you guys tomorrow. Bye.